If you're ready to harness the power of your communications data, blast off with Nylas today.
Hello and welcome to Coding with Nylas, the live stream where we'll talk about APIs, programming, and much more. My name is Blag, Senior Developer Advocate here at Nylas.
And my name is Ram, Developer Advocate at Nylas. How's it going, Blog?
I'm doing fine, just a little bit with a cold, but it should get better. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm hoping we get some warm weather soon. Hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, at least the snow is melting, which is a good sign, but we'll see.
Awesome. So what are we going to talk about today?
So we're going to talk about how to locally test your webhooks using Ruby, which is actually really nice. We have seen before how to test webhooks. You show how to do it locally with Node.js some time ago as well.
Yep.
This time we're gonna use Ruby. And the cool thing is that we don't need anything. We just need our Ruby environment. And also, you can use the Nylas CLI to test webhooks, but then you don't have that much control. You need to still use everything on the terminal. Now with Ruby, you can use whatever you want. So I usually do like web applications with Sinatra, things like that. And this time I wanted to change that a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it on the terminal. So Let me share my screen.
Cool. And this is using the Nylas SDK?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Awesome.
So let me share my screen and let me see if you can see it. So I'm going to run it here.
Okay.
I'm using the curses library so I can have some colors. So here I have webhooks in orange, and then I have the ID, the date, the email from, email to, title, and type, kind of like in blue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send an email to myself. So go here, compose. I'm going to look myself. I'm going to say tested webhooks. Hello, something like that. And that's going to send the email. And we're going to wait for the email to go through and for the webhook to be generated so we can print it out here on our terminal window.
Gotcha. So right now we're just listening for an event, like an email was received or email was sent?
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. So my internet connection has been trouble these days, so it might take a bit to show up. And here it is. It's showing up in green.
Okay.
Here we have the ID of the webhook. We have the date, which is today, 11/3. I'm the one sending it from my personal email. I'm receiving it on my Nylas email. The title, testing webhooks, and then we have message create. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna quickly start sharing, and I'm gonna open the email that I received. I open it, and I'm gonna share my screen back, and hopefully it's gonna look fine. Sometimes the terminal looks kind of weird. Okay, perfect. So I did that because I'm using StreamYard on Chrome, and I have my email on Chrome. So if I try to read the email, it's gonna get wonky. So I just decided to stop sharing for a second. So now we have message create. Now that I open the email, we have the same, but we have the message was updated. So every new webhook is gonna get through here. So let's say I sent another email. Another webhook test. Yes, another one. I send it out. And we should receive that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and of course we can do this not only for email, but we can do also for calendar and contacts and everything else.
Okay, so all webhooks are going to come through here. We're just focusing on the email one for the UI sake right now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I wish it looked a little bit bigger. The problem you're going to see that I need to specify everything on curses. But here we have the ID, we have the date, email from, email to, the title, which is another webhook guest, and the type, which is message create.
Okay.
So as you can see, it's working. We have it on the terminal using curses, and it's locally using Ruby. So no external server whatsoever. So let's jump into the source code. But first, let's mention that don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Coding with Nylas, because that helps us to produce more content that you can consume and watch and see. So,
Yeah, go for it. Drop a comment. We love to hear if there are topics you're interested in. I know Blog has some amazing topics in the past, and as well, we'd love to see any challenging topics you're curious about. You'd love to see on the channel, and as well, we're looking forward to host and bring on or someone as a guest soon as well. So
yeah, that would be great for sure. So, okay, let's go to the source code. Let me share my screen again. So here, first, of course, we need to import our dependencies, which is going to be .env to load our environment variables. We're going to require Nylas and also the curses library. So we need to include it as well. We're going to initialize our client, as in the client ID, client secret, and access token. Once we have done that, here we need to define the callback for the onMessage event. So that's going to happen every time there's a new webhook. So what we're going to do, once there's a new webhook, we're going to refresh on the screen. We only going to check for message create, message open, or message update. Then we want to grab the ID of the webhook, and we want to pass that into the messages endpoint so we can find all the information from the message. If that doesn't work for some reason, we're going to look at the metadata and we're going to grab the message ID. But ideally, this is going to bring everything into message. And here comes the tricky part, because here in curses, I need to set the position of everything that you see in the screen. I need to define the color. I need to define where everything is going to go. So here, we're going to get the message ID. We're going to get title, and that's kind of like, this, right? We're here kind of like defining the titles of each of the columns. So
you're building out the table using just to emphasize you're positioning each pixel essentially where the start and end is. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So that's kind of what makes it a little bit tricky. Here is kind of like the important part for the webhook. Here we're going to define the configuration. So we're going to say that the region is going to be US. We're going to have 3 triggers. So message created, message opened, and message updated. And here we're going to say that on message, that's when we receive a message, we're going to call the method on message here. So every time we get a new webhook, this one here is going to go up here to this method, and it's going to make sure that the trigger is one of the ones that we defined. If we go down then, here we're going to initialize the screen, we're going to hide the cursor, we're going to define that we want to use colors. So here we're going to start also defining where everything goes. So I'm going to put the title here, and we're going to define, actually this one were the titles. I made a mistake there. So these one were the titles, and then we're going to put information. So this one is actually information. So if you see here, we have the message ID, we have here the message date, we have the message, who's sending the email, who's receiving the email, what's the title of the email, and what's the type of webhook that we received. So at the very end, we're going to create, register, and open the webhook tunnel. So let me put this a little bit bigger. So the only thing we need to do is call channel.open webhook channel, passing our Nylas credentials and passing the configuration. And the configuration have all the triggers that we would like to run. So with this, we're going to create a connection with the Nylas servers, and we're going to start listening for webhooks. So that means that every time there's a new webhook, we're going to read it here, and we're going to be able to display it on the screen like this.
That's fascinating. I was thinking the webhooks part would be the challenging part, but looking at your code, I think the UI is much more interesting in terms of the steps you need to build it out.
Yeah, that was a really hard part. I mean, like setting up the webhook was pretty easy. I mean, it's just one line, right?
Yeah.
Reading it was also easy, but getting everything to fall into place was pretty tricky.
Gotcha.
I mean,
But
yeah, remind me of my old days doing C++ and what's this called? There was a library that we used to use for BGI graphics, where you need to put like everything goes into this pixel and into this pixel. It was kind of crazy.
that was very interesting. I do want to emphasize, I think all our SDKs now support this functionality. So we have SDKs in Ruby, Node, Python, and Java. So you can go ahead and set up webhooks to test them out using the SDK right away. You don't need to do anything. Like blog showed, it's just a few lines of code to be able to set up and run webhooks, and just to be able to, I guess, inspect them and see how they function, what data comes back, and to actually build out your functionality is relatively simple.
Yes, exactly. It's actually pretty easy. I have tested out so far in Ruby, Python, and Java, and it was perfect in all three SDKs. You tested in Node,
Yeah.
So we know it's rock solid, and it's
That
pretty
is
easy to use.
that is cool, and I also want to highlight our GitHub samples repository. So github.com/Nylas-samples. We should have examples there of setting up webhooks in the different SDKs, and that would be great to check out when you're building with Nylas, how you can test and set up webhooks relatively quickly.
Yeah, and one thing to mention about the curses library, I always wanted to use that library. I mean, when I was doing C++ like 20 years ago, there was like always curses. I was like, what's that? What is that supposed to be? I only had I always wanted to use it, never had really the chance. So this time I was like, oh, I can use it finally. After 20 years, I'm going to do something with it. So
Yeah,
that was nice.
it was really cool to see yourself building, or you building out UI in the terminal. I think that's an area that for myself is not as explored as I would love to just build out dashboards or just graphical elements inside the terminal. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, terminal is pretty useful. I mean, I use it very often, and sometimes it's easier to have that instead of a more complex web environment. But it all depends, right? So don't forget that we have live streams every Wednesday and Friday at 11 a.m. EST, 8 a.m. PST. We talk about a lot of things. We have a lot of episodes. You can watch us live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube, or you can go afterwards and see our previous channels or our previous episodes on our YouTube channel.
Yep, go ahead and take a look when you get a chance.
Mm-hmm. Do we have something scheduled for this coming Friday?
I have two possible topics.
Nice.
I'm still debating which one. I think time permitting, we'll see. But I know I want to touch on mail merge. So Blog, I know you've gone through and built out a few blog posts, and as well, I think we've done a live stream on mail merge.
Yes.
So I may take a chance of just taking a spin on mail merge, or even just kind of seeing how we can start building a mini CRM. So this is something I think you've looked at in the past as well, but I want to see if we can use the contacts list itself to build out a CRM. So I have two ideas for Friday. And if anyone has any thoughts or feedback, I'd love to hear it. But this is kind of like two areas I'm exploring for our Friday live stream.
Nice. So it's going to be a surprise show. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Also, don't forget to go to our blog, nylas.com/blog. where all our blogs reside. We post one per week, if I'm not mistaken. We have a lot that we have written in the past, and we'll continue to working on new things. Just let us know what you would like to see on the blog post or on the live stream. We're more than open to contributions, to ideas, and everything you would like to for us to explore.
Awesome. Thanks, Blag. That was great. I got to spend some time with curses.
Totally. Thanks, Bram. Always great to see you.
Okay.
And thanks, everyone. Have a great Wednesday. And check out.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye.